We will be having a presentation on teaming Plone 7, and the talk will be hosted by Piero Nicolli. Can we have applause for our talk? Let's take it away.
Yep. So the answer is yes, it's doable. The next question is the most important one, though, which is, are you willing to try? Are you willing to try theming Plone 7? So if you are, follow me in this very technical, actually, journey, which is going to be a lot of code. So let's create a theme add-on for 7 using CookiePlone. There's a specific option for 7 in CookiePlone now. You pick that one, which is number 5, and pick a name for your theme, and all other defaults are good. It asks for a Volto version, but that's useless. It's a leftover. It will be removed. It will actually target 7 anyways under the hood. Then you run make install. You enter the folder. You run make install, and basically that's building all the dependencies and all Plone 7 packages. There's a good caching mechanism on these builds, but the first time it's going to take a minute to do that. So yeah, install, build, blah, 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 blah. It's doing all the thing. I am actually going to go through all the steps that I, as a developer, have been through for doing this. I'm showing what real development of 7 is not just the final code, the mistakes that I made and all of that. So first things first, you install the thing and then you run make start, and it's going to fire up the front end. It's going to fire up the 7 application, and we got an error already because I need a backend, and when I did this, I forgot to start my backend. So while we're here, why don't we just use the conference website as a backend? Because why not? So there's a Plone API path environment variable that you can use to point your 7 website to any website that you already have. And that works without course errors, other things, because of how 7 is built. Yes, okay. Because 7 fires all the requests to the REST API through the Node server and not from the browser. So that will work. Every REST API powered website you have, that'll work. So this is a small step, but I see several people miss it. Whenever you create a project, and I'm not only talking about Plone, with the boilerplate, my personal recommendation, git commit whatever you get from the boilerplate and then start working from there. Because then you edit 3 files and you're like, what did I change again now? When you just start testing things, right? And then you forget what you changed. So Git is there for you. Then another thing. So nowadays, Plone 7 is not fully ready to work with. It doesn't have all the CMS UI, all the editing experience in it, right? So as we said already in other talks, you can you can just avoid having the whole CMS UI or the small one that we're building nowadays. And the way you do that, you open the Plone registry configuration, and you can change the import. That's one way that I would recommend for just removing the CMS UI for now, which is changing the import and then just pointing it to the public UI default configuration. And let's start the server again, and we're going to see it just works the same as before. Under the hood, it just does have less JavaScript code that you don't need. It's not even done yet. So then let's start working on the actual things, which is how do we customize the styles, right? So this is meant to be this whole talk is meant to be your cheat sheet, your quick guide on how to have all the tools to build your Plone 7 site, meaning you can go out of here and build a real website with 7, you will have what I believe are all the tools for now. Of course, if you have like fancy customization integrations, that's a different deal, but like a basic website you will be able to build. So first thing is, how do we customize styles? This is like 7 is slightly different today. This is 10 or 15 days old. The logo is huge. If you do it today, it's different, but nevertheless. How do we customize this logo? So another recommendation from me as a front-end developer that doesn't ever remember things by heart, just look at the developer tools and copy things from there. It's gonna be fine. In the theme folder, you can create, so in the theme add-on that you have inside there, like CookiePlone will create like a whole boilerplate, but then it will create a packages folder with the actual add-on for you. In that theme add-on, you can create a styles folder. And in that styles folder, you can create a file called publicui.css. That file will be automatically added to the CSS of 7. Only thing is, first time you create it, you have to restart the server. We're gonna see that in a minute. So let's change the logo styles there. And yes, that doesn't work. I forgot I had to restart it. This will happen for sure to you, so I restarted it. And now the logo has a different thing, different size. Now, I want to get rid of everything that's in the, we have like by default in 7, we have a edit link on the top right corner, login link. I don't want that. So those are slots. Slots, same thing we have in Volto today. Slots are the basic building block in 7. We built the whole UI with that. And that is basically, if you haven't tried Volto, that is basically viewlets if you have worked with classic UI. So this is to show that we have proper documentation on how to work with slots. Okay. So we need to get rid of that. So I want to remove all the editor tools that we have there. Actually, I want to remove the whole header and replace it with one of my own. So I'm gonna look at the documentation. I'm gonna go to the code. Interesting to note here, CookiePlone will create a core folder inside the project, which will have a git clone of the core code, meaning the Plone 7 code, like the front-end code. So you can always reference that, and you're gonna see me do that more than once. You can always reference that in your work. So I have here my theme index file. This is where we change the configuration. So in the configuration, I'm gonna find out the name and the info about the slot I want to remove. So basically, yeah, this is me checking the signature of the function because I will never remember that. And then logging things because, yes, it's what we do, right? This is what we spend most of our time as developers doing, right? This is life, like fixing the semicolon being in the wrong place and restarting things, checking logs. Sometimes new code, we write new code. Doing mistakes. So this is interesting. No slot component header and slot header found. Damn it, I'm sure it was called like that, right? So what do? I reference the source. I go into the core folder, packages, layout, that's where slots live. All the slots, all the default slots are in the layout package in the 7 core. Go in the index, find out that they're not there because now we are being more organized with code and we have more functions, which is good. So there's the slot configuration and they're all defined there. And of course, I made a typo, right? It's capital H. It's always like that, right? So let's go back, fix our typo. Forgot again, what's the signature of the function? Slot first, name is the second one. That's TypeScript, by the way, helping me. I don't have to go back to the documentation. Let's clear the thing, start again. and we get the actual info of the slots 3 times, because once was not enough. So it's the same thing 3 times. But I only have 1 slot component in that slot. And that's the info that I wanted, because I actually need to... are you moving? Yes. We actually need to call the unregistered slot function, which wants the position of the slot that you want to remove. This is a little bit advanced theory on slots, but you could have multiple slots with the same slot and same name, like multiple components. Because you could have the same thing, but rendering a different React component based on your content type or your location in like your tree. So yeah, this will remove the header. And if I remember correctly, I will be, yes, restarting it to remove the log, which is annoying, and showing that the header is gone. Okay, and that's step 1. Now I can replace it with whatever I want. So I will create in my package, in my add-on, I will create a components folder. I will create a header tools slot component. Why that? Because the actual PloneConf website is built on 1 row with the login links, the tickets link, and 1 bigger row with the logo, the navigation, and the search icon. So I'm gonna build the login thingies first. So I'm just gonna, once again, reference the native, the core slot with the tools and copy paste, right? It's how we write 90% of our code. Copy pasting code that works. It's what we do. Yeah. And this is, yes, this is me adding the login link.
This is you not doing copy paste, huh?
That's me, yeah. I mean, it was copied in my mind, right? I went there to copy paste, and then I was like, it's too much code. I don't need all of this. Like, I'm going to remove 90% of it, right? But that's the process. That's fair. I'm going to remember that. Okay. I'm gonna, this is important, yeah, still. I'm using the link component from React Area Components, and this is a dependency I don't have. So another important thing, you want to install dependencies, you want to use pnpm -- filter with the name of your add-on, and that will install dependencies in your actual add-on and not in your like development project, which is what CookiePlone creates. Install things, okay, now the error is gone, and React Area Components is there. Yes. And then I realize I made a mistake. React Area Components should not be a dev dependency, it should be a dependency. Like production dependency is what I actually render. So I'll move it there, and whenever you change it manually, you npm install again, so it fixes the log file if needed. But just in case, let's do that. So I created the component, and I will go and add the new slot. So register slot component, I'll check the documentation, which is TypeScript. TypeScript is your #1 source of documentation once you have all the code base written in TypeScript. And that says I have an options object as a parameter with some things that it knows about, so it will actually suggest. And then I'm not good at typing, so I will do a ton of mistakes. I remember this, okay. And this is actually AI saving me a lot of time. Yep, import the component you just built, and you define which slot you want to fill, the name of the slot you're registering, and the component that you built. And this should, yes. I am restarting the server way more often than I should, but Plone 7 is fast as hell, like, it's super fast. So that's my new links on top there. Okay, what next? Let's add some styles to those links. Let's see how I recommend, but you don't have to, styling things in your custom components, which is Tailwind CSS. So let's install Tailwind first and Plone components, because I actually need more components from the library that we built. Same thing, -- filter is important. Conf theme is the name that I picked for the package. Another important thing here, when I installed the Plone components package, it will install it from npm. You can use, I actually recommend you use the version that you have in the checked out core code, which is in the core folder. pnpm does that, and CookiePlone sets that up, so you can just write workspace in that workspace : star in that way there, and it will actually use the code that you have in your checked out version of the core. Okay, yes. So let me add the container to contain the links so they look better. Let me actually use the link from Plone components, which is styled because I'm using the Quanta default styles. And that should, yeah, here I am removing the Acteria components because I didn't actually need it. I'm just using Plone components. So let's clean things up and restart the whole thing. Some of these videos from now on are a little bit sped up because otherwise you would be here for a couple hours, and I know that's not what I want for you. So this is the actual link being styled, as in Quanta styled. I need a little bit of class names for that. Yes, that's Tailwind styles. Padding, text alignment, blah, 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 done. Okay, that should be it. Yes. Okay, now, now I want to add the other component there, which is like the actual header with the logo. So let me create the other component that will fill the header slot here. So I told you before, in a slot you can have like multiple components for the same slot name and the same component name, but you also, of course, can have different components in the same slot, meaning whenever they have the same name and the same slot name, they will replace each other based on conditions. But if you have like the same slot name and, let me see if I missed it here. Okay, no. If they have the same slot name, let me pause the video for a second. But a different name, you will have multiple components rendered in the same slots, like viewlets. When you register those with the same, with different IDs, you basically have more than one in the same viewlet manager. So that was me copying over the header from the default slot. So I basically copy pasted the code, fixed the paths for the import, adding the missing libraries once again. And yep, the error's gone. CSS I will probably remove because I don't need. Yeah, so this is the default header, has actually slot renderers. Much like viewlets, you can nest slot renderers inside other slots. So we will render the default logo, the default navigation, and probably change whatever else is there. Yeah, so the header tools are the old ones I don't need. The language switcher as well, I don't need that. Let me add different things here. Okay, yeah, I just want to link to the search page, right? Yes. Yep. Okay, let's add a link to the search page just to begin with, right? Yeah. Cleaning up the things I don't need. Yep. Start the thing again. This is another thing that's interesting that is happening for now that we will work on. If you do things with 7 now, sometimes this will happen in development mode when you start it, restart it, it will go away and it will be fixed eventually. And yep, that was not working because I actually didn't register the slot. Because of course, it's all the same mistakes that we do. So now I register another component in the header slot with a different name. This is header tools, this is header slot. So they will both be rendered. Okay. Yes, now we do have a header with the logo and everything else. Yes, and a search link. Now we're going to need to get crazy because I can't remember what I'm looking for. This is also developer life. But then realize that I need the icons. I need to check how those are done. Can't remember what's in there. Okay, yeah, let's fast forward here. Try to fix the styles a little bit. Basically checking what was in the default styles so that it looks better. Yeah, that now looks better. Okay. Then, have you noticed all the hints, like a little pause here, all the hints and suggestions that we got from the browser? And if you built some Volto in the past, that wasn't the case. That is important. That is TypeScript doing a huge amount of work for us. Like the whole 7 code base is built in TypeScript. You will get, especially when working with the config registry, you will get a lot of hints about method signatures, parameters, and types, and things that are wrong, and typos that you made. That is super helpful. And yeah. So this is introducing icons. Icons are exported from Plone components as well. I just want to mention here, see that was TypeScript hinting all the attributes, and this is all the options for the size. That's just because the thing is TypeScript. Whenever you add an icon to your website, if there's no text next to it, please, please, please label that for accessibility purposes. Yep, now we should have an icon instead of the search text. That's good. And let's call this header like done for the purpose of this talk, right? Yeah, more size changes. Yeah, okay. So I have shown you how to customize what is usually necessary, like some styles from the basic styles that 7 provides, some of the slots that compose the header. The same thing is for the footer. This is me removing the green shade that is in the 7 default theme. So let's fast forward through that. But I think that's the basics that you need for recreating everything you have in the header, and same goes for the footer of the website. Yep. This is me just removing the header. Done. Gone. So what else is there? Let's move on to the next step, which is a big one. Now we have the header in place. The footer probably the same way. What's in this page that is still not working? That's blocks. I mean, blocks are working. They are being rendered. It's just the 7 for now just knows about a few blocks. And especially in your actual website, you will have custom blocks. So you will need to define how to render those blocks. Everything that has to do with the registry works the same way as it does in Volto today. That's important to know, especially blocks. Because blocks have all the data, all the props passed from the blocks engine, so you don't even have to deal with how data is fetched, all those things. That's for later. So let's create I know that the first block of the homepage is a slider block. So let's create a view for that, like a default view for now, just to make sure that it works. And let's actually register the slider block in my blocks configuration. That's, as you can see, like if you have done Volto, it's the same way. So there's this object with the blocks config where you define the slider. The ID is important. It has to be the type of the block on the backend. Well, type of the block that it was saved on the backend. Important thing, since we're only rendering the view of the block, we don't need the whole configuration. We need the ID, we need the title. Not even sure we need the title actually, but it's fancier to have it there. And we need a view component for that. So let's import the component. And once we import that, assign it there. You see we have TypeScript complaining there. Spoiler alert, the complaint is going to be, man, I don't have a slider block defined in my default configuration. But we'll fix that later. So that's the slider view I did. I coded there, which is just rendered instead of the default, I don't know what this block is message. OK. So. OK, I was wondering why the thing slowed down. OK, now I fixed it. I learned the shortcuts of Keynote 3 days ago, so I'm trying to work with that. Yeah, OK, I did that already. Did I restart the video? That could be the case. Yeah, I did. Sure, let's go to the next one. Proof of concept was ready. Let's fix the TypeScript errors that I had. To begin with, I need data for the block. I need to know what data I am given by the backend. So let's log that data. Important thing here. Let me pause for a second. This video specifically is going to be a little bit more TypeScript intensive. Don't be scared. Trust me, it's very much beneficial to start dealing with this thing. It will help you right away. As I showed before, whenever you have everything set up, it helps a lot. It just takes a little bit more of your time to set things up. But once again, it's really helpful. So I could check, like from the data that I get, right, from the backend, and just write that, right, like I did here. Let me go back. Right, I got the data, logged it, added the title there, save, and it works. That's the first slide's title, which is, yep, that one over there. So you see that I have no hints. TypeScript doesn't have any idea what that is, what's in data, and the type that is suggested is any, meaning I have no clue what's happening. This is TypeScript telling me I have no clue what's happening, I trust you. And it shouldn't, because I am a human being. But let me show how to render all the data first. So I can use the image component that we built for 7 and give it the source, but then I have no idea, because I can't remember and TypeScript isn't helping me, I have no idea what's inside that slide. So let's fix that, because I'm tired of waiting and going back and forth through the data. So we export a default props for blocks from Plone types, which is that thing over there, that block view props over there. And we can assign that to the data props that we have, but that's the default. So TypeScript doesn't know what my custom block is. So let's create a file that I usually call schema.ts, because it usually also has the block data. That will, yes, this is what I usually do. I create a comment, I copy the data in there, and then convert that data to TypeScript afterwards. So this is what I have. So this is what I have to do. Like, this is I'm teaching TypeScript. This is the data that you're going to get from the backend. And that will definitely help me along the way. So now we added everything. There's a couple of things that the LLM suggested me that is not really correct, which is the href and the preview image. I'll fix that in a second, I guess. Yes. That was me going back and forth to see what actually I should use as a type. The brain type is something that we have in the Plone types package that represents search catalog results. So let's use that, because that's what we did when we created the block. Done. That's a little bit of TypeScript magic. You'll get used to it, trust me. It's beneficial. Yeah. You can also, instead of logging the thing, you can also use the network tab in Volto to just check what's in the data there. This is just showing that that's the same thing. Now let's import that type and say that my block view isn't really the default one, but I have the data that I get is my specific type. This is me intersecting the default blocks with a definition of data that is more specific, that is the actual one that I have. That means that those two types, the block view props and the data there, are going to be merged. And and yep, so this is first part. Yes, okay. So TypeScript wants to be very precise, so I need to remove data that's old TypeScript. What's it called? Type level programming, something like that. So I'm removing data from block view props and adding my own, basically. So now it should be precise. What's important to see here, the image block is actually capable of receiving a full item instead of just a string source. So it will receive the full image item. That means the brain that we got from the search there. And it will render the image. Then let's check that we have an image before actually rendering the image. That's not really always mandatory, but just to show that you can. And also, other important thing, let me go back. Whenever you add an image, always have an alt attribute, please. Same thing, accessibility is important, even if it's empty. If it's empty, it does mean something. If it's empty, it means the image is just there for presentation purposes. Which in this case it is, because the very title is like the very next item in the markup. Okay, so let me recap. Let me go back a little bit here. Yeah, so the thing is working. Now, the other TypeScript error here. It's the configuration that has no idea what the slider is. What I usually do is export a customized version of the block configuration, which is get the block config base, which is another type that we provide from core, which is what is usually in the block configuration. Pick is a TypeScript thingy, directive probably is the name, that says, okay, just get these three ID, title, and view keys from the whole block config base, because it's what we need for just rendering the public UI. And let's import that custom configuration. Let's go to, this is called module augmentation, if I remember correctly, which is adding, which is adding keys to the blocks config data interface that already exists in Plone types, right? So that adds or replaces actually keys in there, because TypeScript keeps a global unified definition idea of what your types are, so you can augment interfaces in that way. So that's how we basically add the block. And then we have a different error. Now it knows what a slider is, but the view type, it doesn't match what they want. So I do that again because I must have removed it. Yes. Okay. No, this is, okay, this was the end of the video, sorry. Okay. Okay, yes, so we defined the configuration. I think I skipped fixing that view thing for now because it would take too long. Now we are done with blocks. Okay, no, I'm fixing it here. So I'm just getting the ID and the title from the default, and I'm defining my own view type there, which is the type of the actual type of the block view. Yes, yes. Whatever, bear with me. This is how to fix all the things. So let me pause this here for a minute. So I understand that for everybody that uses TypeScript, this might be obvious. Everybody that never used TypeScript, this might be, oh my God, what's happening? The good thing here is you will have a recording of this video. Use this as a guideline. Go over that again and again and again. As I said, this was meant to be like a quick guide, a cheat sheet for you to have all the tools, and that's why I'm trying to go through all the things in very little time, and this is a challenge, but I'm almost there, like basically there. So now that we did that, one last thing we're missing for you to be able to build a site is content types views. What a coincidence, though, that this first slide links to a custom content type, which is the schedule content type. So for now, it renders the default view that we provide with just the context title. Today it's different. Doesn't matter. We render the default view. So let's create a custom view for it. So let's create a new folder in our add-on React component with some code, test code in it for now. And let's go to the config again, and let's assign a view to our custom content type. This is also same thing we did in Volto, like not different in any bit. The registry is the same anyway, like the same code we use in Volto, we use in 7. So it has the same keys, same objects. Now we have our custom test view over there. Schedule view, yes, that's the default text that I added there. Okay. So with that done, let me go through here, blah, 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 some React, some styles, and that's there. Last important thing, that was a wrong suggestion, to get, this is different from Volto, okay? To get the actual data, yes. To get the actual data, in 7 you do that. There is, yes, so this will get the data. Trust me, we can talk about the details later. I don't have time now to get into that. But this call will get the data. There is something in 7 that is always fetching the context data for you all the time, and you can just access that. You can think about that as when you're building the view of anything in the classic UI, and you just do self.context and you have everything, right? Anywhere. Same thing is here. You call that function, you have the thing. Now that we actually render the title, we can do, okay. We can get from core, get the, whatever is rendering the, this is me going crazy because I can't find it again. Okay, whatever is rendering the blocks, because I know that the content object has blocks. So you use the render blocks function, and you just render the content item, the blocks that are in there, right? See, there's the whole, all of the blocks are there now. Some of them don't work because you will need to build those block because those are custom, but yep. And this is what it looks like on the actual website, and this is what it looks like on ours. I have a duplicated title because there's a block title. Let's fix that. And yeah, last thing, okay, last thing. Blocks are there, the title's there. Did you notice anything off? Probably not, because I was going a little bit faster, but the breadcrumbs are before the header, like what happened. We have slots there that are out of order. So let's log the order of the slots and let's call the specific function to reorder the slots. TypeScript matching telling me what to add in the thing instead of me going to the documentation. And that's it. You move the breadcrumbs after the header and the website is fixed. That's it. Questions? You can also take the microphone just to say, "Oh my God, you scared me," and we can talk. We can talk later. It's fine. As I said, refer to this video later when you're actually crazy enough to try this. It's going to be useful. But if you have questions now, maybe we get time for one. I don't know.
We have time for one question. Yes.
I knew I would scare you.
It's for the record.
I love it. I'm considering being a Plone developer again.
If you wanted to make me cry, you almost got there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.